Hello and welcome to this edition of Diaspora Central Spotlight. I am Gil Ingles, and with me today, ladies and gentlemen, is one of Houston's finest. Yes, when you're talking fashion, when you're talking dressing an individual, when you're talking representing what the Houstonian fashion scene is supposed to be like, this lady is the true representation of it. Efuru, welcome to Diaspora Central Spotlight.
Shay, thank you. I love the energy just brought, and
Thank you.
And all of that,
Thank you.
Thank
you.
No,
definitely a pleasure. Thank you for accepting our invitation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, you're busy. You're very busy.
I am.
Yeah, and I like to start the program with an accolade. One of the things that honestly made me very fond of you was actually the show that you did with the children for Juneteenth, okay? Because a lot of times we all talk about, changing the narrative, but what exactly are we doing to change the narrative, right? We're talking about it, but what are we doing? Yeah. We can't change it unless we have actions to change it. And the best way to change it is to actually engage the little children so that they can learn that there's actually something much better, something beyond. Yeah. Because after all, they're the ones that see us in our struggles. They should also be the ones to see us in our triumphs.
That's true.
Indeed.
Yes.
So for that, I am a fan.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Are you ready for us?
I am so ready. Here. We're here.
Yeah. You're looking a bit nervous though.
I'm not really nervous, but I'm listening.
You're comfortable.
And I'm soaking it because it's beautiful, and I'm thankful and grateful and honored to be here, and also to really see and hear. I just be too busy in the moment. It's like, okay, so you see it. You see me out here. And it's like, and this is real.
It is.
And this is really, I am doing.
Yes, you are.
And just when I think that I may not be doing enough, it's like, wait a minute, presently, right now, I am actually living in this moment in time and space and experiencing such a beautiful moment, and then it happens fast. Indeed. But it keeps going. Indeed. And you're seeing the work, and it's like, but you're still going, but then I have beautiful flowers and just pop in and just say, hey, here's your flower.
Indeed. They're necessary.
Yeah,
they're necessary. Yes. They're necessary because, and especially at a time in which we can still smell them, we can still appreciate them. Yes. And I mean, of course, you are also our mother.
Yes.
Right. So a family woman.
Yes.
It's not very easy, right?
It's not.
Because it's pretty much sharing yourself with sacrificing at times a little bit of that family time to have to also spend with other children that may not be yours, but yet giving them the vision that will become later on a better world for all of them, including yours.
Yes. Yeah. And those are those talks with my children. It's that communication, that open communication. Like, hey, yes, I brought you here into this world, but I'm also here. I have gifts and talents that have to be shared, just like you have them, and you can start now, and then you can watch me as I grow, and now it's an experience. Just being that type of mother is like amazing to me.
Indeed, and it is a good thing. You come from a big family.
I do.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about it. And here at Diaspora Central, we like names. Yeah, we like stories because we like to connect the dots. It's a small world. You never know.
Yes.
Yeah. You never know which cousin will be listening to it that didn't know there was a cousin of yours.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's start with the family. Parents, where are you originally from?
Okay.
And where are the parents, I guess, originally from?
I am originally from Houston, Texas.
There you go.
I was born in Spring Branch.
Right around the corner.
And I have a twin sister, and she's no longer here, but I'm living a dream that we shared, and also goals. I'm arriving at goals that we set, many that we set. We spent a lot of time together. There was times that we were apart, and that's when she was in school, and I was running a business with a family structure. And we actually, after she graduated, we got together and we just started a business, which is Royalty Reigns. And we believe that Royalty Reigns is us reigning for, representing who we are, truly who we are, and stepping into who we are and really living what we really passionately want to live. And so I have a older sister that lives in Houston, Texas. She's a year older than us. She's in real estate. And then I have a little brother. He's in trading, and he's 2 years younger than us. And then we have my mom and my dad. My mom and my dad, my dad has 2 other daughters. Okay.
And what is the mom's name?
My mother's name is Angela Sanye.
Okay, Angela Sanye.
Yes.
All right. Now, with that last name, Sanye, that sounds like French. So is she from Louisiana?
Yes, she is. Okay. We have ancestors from all over, but she's from, our family lineage goes to Opelousas. Okay. And then my dad's side, I believe that's Opelousas too. Okay. And we also have a grandmother that's still here. She's 93. Oh, wow. Blessing. And she's able to share information, and she speaks French, and she's just a lovely, beautiful, happy woman. She's very sparky. Yeah.
So that's the Louisiana root right there.
Yes.
Okay. So if she speaks French, she probably also speaks Creole.
Yes. Right? She does.
Okay. Yeah. Now, what is the father's name?
My father's name is Leonard Ray Simon.
There you go. Now, so Houston.
Yes.
Spring Branch.
Yes.
Yeah. I know exactly what that is. Beltway 8, Highway 10.
Yes.
Right? Right in that area. School. Yeah.
School was, I went to Springwoods High School, Springwoods Middle School, Spring Oaks Middle School. Okay. All the schools in Spring Branch, except the high school that I graduated from was Springwoods Middle School. Okay. Springwoods High School.
High school. Yes. Okay. All right. So now, were there any teachers that influenced you?
Teachers?
At all? You can go back to elementary or as far as you can remember.
As far as I do have
in any aspect of who you are today.
Okay.
Right? Because sometimes our composition really comes sometimes from little tiny details that we pick up here and there, right? Or those little tiny nuggets that get put together and eventually melt or bond and become that gold bar.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Okay. So I do have I did grow up in Spring Branch and did have a teacher that I remember asking me to read something, and I knew I had it right. But she was like, no, you can't read. No, you can't. That's not it. And I remember, her holding me back from to going to first grade.
Wow.
And then they put me in a Spanish class. Okay. So it was a K1, I guess that was a kindergarten / first grade, type of class. And it was a Spanish class. And the Spanish class, they spoke nothing but Spanish. Like, I was the only one that spoke English. But it was a really good experience for me because I did have a teacher named Miss Garcia. Okay. And Miss Garcia, she spoke Spanish. She was the teacher in the Spanish class, but she was a very good teacher. Yeah. I got to be around Spanish students, and I got to help them, learn how to speak English. Gotcha. And they taught me how to. We created a sign language amongst each other to communicate with each other while we learn. Right. They learned English. I learned Spanish. There you go. So I really grew up able to spark a conversation with someone in Spanish.
Right.
And I mean, since today, I connect with a lot of Spanish culture,
Right.
Because it's very inspiring. And I also had a best friend growing up. Her name was Susana. She lived right next door to us, and their family structure was beautiful. They had a lot of children. It was a mother and father, had a lot of children, and then they would but downstairs they had a business.
Yeah.
And the mother would come down, she'd cook, and then she moved to the dining area. It was a whole distribution company right there in the dining room.
Yeah.
And then upstairs, the children, they had their twin beds in different orders in the room. The boys on one side, the girls in the other room. And it was a really structured, and I really admire that, because the mother had a business where she was woven fabrics.
Right.
And because they used to wear the white tops with the colorful skirts, and they would be the wrap skirts.
Right.
And so that was the mother's business. And so I really loved the way that structure was. And I had other Spanish friends that were from different parts of Mexico that did the same thing. So that was for me. And then I had an Asian friend that when you would go to their house, they would sit down and eat. And my sister and I, we just loved culture.
Got you. So,
so
somewhat diversified you.
Yes. Yes.
Exposed you to a lot of diversity.
Yes. And it was the friends that I went to school with, but it led from, I guess, me going into that Spanish class, having these conversations and getting to really know how the culture of other cultures. Yeah. And then just having friends, and then my sister had her friends, so we would be around different people and the way that they live.
So now when you held back on that grade, your twin sister, is she also held back, or she moves on to the next grade and you stay behind?
She was able to move on to the next grade, but for somehow, I don't know how, but we end up, I guess that K1 put me into first grade or something.
Okay. Yeah. But you guys ended up then still together
somehow.
In the same way. So sometimes God will work in mysterious ways.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Sometimes God will work in mysterious ways.
But just thinking about that today, it was like, okay, I really don't know how we ended up back together in the same grade. Right. But we did.
Yeah. and those things sometimes happen. Now, you mentioned, I mean, and we can tell a bit of that influence right there. You mentioned your mom, you mentioned your neighbors, so the clothing. So I guess by looking at that, somehow you end up having an eye for fashion.
Yes.
Yeah. At what point did you actually realize that your perception of fashion was different than everybody else's?
When people would ask me, where do I shop? And people would always say, like, where do you shop at? And I'm like, I thought it was a weird question, because I'm like, wait, where do I shop at? Like, I'm the only person that put different things together. Like, so I was like, it was a weird question. I mean, I didn't know how to answer that, but I did say, everywhere, And so it would, like, I remember somebody asking me that, and then like more and more people started asking me that, and then friends would call me on the phone and be like, hey, like, I'm about to go to this party next week, and I have this shirt that I want to wear. And I'm like, okay, well, the shirt that you want to wear is that, okay, what kind of shoes do you want to wear? Flat shoes, high shoes. And then I would talk them into putting an outfit together. So you started styling them? Yes, over the phone. And then they would go to the stores and go and look for this piece that I told them to find, and they would come and take a picture. And was like, okay, is this it? But also seeing my mother as a little girl, my mother did make our clothes too. Okay. She didn't make a lot of them, but when she did get in that mode, she made them. And just the pieces that she did make, they were standoff pieces. Gotcha. And like, my sister and I created we reinvented a line in 2018 of the designs that we loved that our mom made years ago. Wow. And we have not put that out yet, because it's a story that is being told. Gotcha. And that's made with African real woven cloth from Ghana, actually. From Ghana. And it's the kente cloth. Oh, okay. And then it's mixed with some mud cloth. And then but it's the same designs as my mom made when out of the pieces that her and I loved.
Yeah, and you know what? That's you jumped right into what my next question was going to be, which was at home, who was that fashion influence in you? So mom really kind of had that touch.
Yes.
Yeah. And what about dad? What were dad's strengths?
Dad's strength was I would say he showed that, working, like working a lot that's what he had to do. That's what he was here for. And if that's what he had to do, he'd do it. But he did love baseball, and he was part of a team that and the memories is going out there watching dad play baseball all day on the weekend,
That was family time.
Yes. Yeah. And then he did have lots of trophies. Like I grew up with a lot of trophies around me because it was there. And so that was his strengths. Like he was able to be a part of a team and win at things. And then, then you got these trophies around you. It's like we ain't got no choice but to win at things. We better do what we got to do.
That's it. It's the development of winners and individuals that actually take actions. We're going to go into our first break, but that's how sometimes being put into adversity can actually help us overcome greater challenges as we move on in life. Yeah, I see already certain patterns that you actually have developed, because today you didn't just come by yourself. You actually also brought your children. Yeah, which is something very important. But let's go into our first break and take a look at some of the great things that you do. And we'll be right back. And we are back. If you just joined us, tuned into the Diaspora Central Spotlight with Gil Ingles, and our guest today, it's EFURU. Yes, that's the lady that currently holds the fire of royalty reigns above her head to ensure that all of us are able not only to see, but understand what the light of fashion is supposed to look like. Royalty reigns. Let's get a little bit into the name.
Okay.
What was the birth of that name?
The birth of that name was in 2018. Nisha and I, she had graduated from college in art, in fashion and science. And she bachelor in arts and in fashion. We'll just say fashion for now.
That would be arts and science.
Arts and science. Yeah. Okay. Yes. And so
liberal arts, actually. Fashion would be liberal arts.
Okay. Yeah. Got it. And then, I called her, and I was like, sis, I need help. I got a lot of orders over here and I need help. And so she was like, I'll be over there. And she had been going to college. It was the last part of her year. So we was kind of separated from one side of town on the other. But we would talk and stuff like that. Right. But it was very briefly, but we made sure we gonna talk. But we end up coming together. She came over and she's like, oh my goodness. Because I had already started a children's line. And the children's line, I just started online. I just got a bunch of orders and she came over because I told her I had a lot of orders and I needed help.
Gotcha.
And so she came over and she was like, sis, this should be in the department stores. Right. Like, this is beautiful. Yeah. And so she started taking pictures and just really putting it out there. And then she started finding me markets to go to. And then when she graduated, I was like, sis, you do the adults. I do the children. Let's make it royalty reign. But the name came about, my sis was like, she was like, we talked about that. It was before we came up with the name. And so one day she called me, she was like, she had a list for me, and she was like, you know, she started thinking about the business that she had before, which was art of design.
Okay.
And then we was like, no. And then when she was like, royalty, and we was like, I said, we need to do something royalty, you know, like, you know, like we need to show how we supposed to reign. And was like, and she was like, royalty reigns.
There you go.
And I was like, that's it. And so ever since then, we definitely got on the paperwork. We was like, okay, we need it to be like this. And you know, we're going to do this, and this. And so we went and got all the documents done. And then we started coming together. She already had designs that she was doing in school because she had to do the projects. Right. And then I already had the children's line because I had already started the business. So we just came together. Right.
Interesting enough, and I kind of want to digress a little bit because I want to make sure that we get out here a little bit of more content, because this is a very interesting story. So growing up, were you guys very close?
Yes.
Okay. So you guys, and are you guys identical?
Yes, we are.
So you're identical twins. Yes. So really, people never knew whether they talking to you or to your sister.
True. Yes. Unless they just knew us.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but you have to know, because a lot of times most people just met. Like,
right. They're like, which one are you?
Did you guys used to prank people by actually one of you probably talk to a person first and then the other one will show up and they still think that they talking to the same person?
You know what? So like the younger parts of our lives, we was just like, no, we're not going to play game. We're not going to play tricks on people because we wanted to find our own identity.
There you
and
go.
you know, and then we had my sister, she liked to own friends. She was like, these are my friends. And her friends like me too. So it used to be so funny, but it was just like we shared friends. And you know, her friends would go to her for this and go to me for this, and that's just kind of how it was. But we did grow up together. We were around each other a lot growing up. And if we were apart, we was going to be the first ones to call each other. Like we were very close. And then we went to my sister went to college. I started a business, but the business that I started, it just sporadically happened. It was just like I meditated, I got an idea, I put action into it, I created it, someone seen it, and my children's father took it and just shared it with the world. Okay. And
so the first move, and don't forget where you're going. Okay, because you mentioned now another piece that it is important here, because a lot of times we forget that family is really the beginning of everything. It all starts at home, right? So you saw what mom did.
Yes.
You meditated. You got the idea. You put action into it. You created. Your children's father, right, or your partner,
my partner,
sees it, and he takes that and he says, you know what, we should broadcast this or share this also with the world. So giving you more confidence. Right? Influential part in this story, because a lot of times we don't hear those good stories where good men do good things to good women, right? So your children's father takes it away and starts to promote you, so he becomes your promoter.
Because he was,
or your agent.
Whatever position he came in there, and he was like, look, everybody, look, here it is on social media. Here it is, all my family members. And then was like, here, show your family members, like here, and then put this price on it. And then it got to a point where it was like, okay, let's do it all donation based, you know, just here, just donation, you know, just the ideas and the, you know, believing in this, what I created. And then this mother came in and she was like, here's fabric, you know, I found some fabric, you know, because I was specific. I wanted African fabric because I wanted us to connect in some type of way and
to your heritage, that is, to the African heritage. Now your first exposure to, because you born in America, right? Your parents are from Louisiana.
Yes.
Your first connection to the continent, what was it?
It was having a conversation with one of my children, because I have two sons and they have two different fathers.
Okay.
And it was having a conversation. The first conversation that I've ever spoke about was Africa. Like having that real conversation with someone of my descent to speak about Africa, because like my family didn't grow up speaking about Africa, and they grew up just like me, looking at Africa as oh, it's a poor country and it's this and this. But speaking to my oldest son's father, having a conversation with him, saying, you know, he'd been to Africa, and then, you know, explaining all the funny stories about Africa. And I'm like, what? Like, what? Like, I want to go to Africa,
there
you know,
go.
like, and that's what the spark was that put me on my journey to discover my history, my ancestry, my culture. And so that's all I ever wanted, was to find my culture. And
Identity.
My identity,
that's the identity,
my DNA,
You're
like it just goes, you know, the more that I went on that journey, the deeper it was like, and the more showed up. So that's what brings me here today as EFURU KORII of Royalty Reigns.
Wow.
And then also the children's line is Neturu Heroes, which are natural heroes of today. And so that's the journey. It's like creating this for the children to see this beauty in everything, and understand where their beauty, what their beauty within reflects on the outside. And connecting with your natural gifts and talents. And where do they come from? And who do they come from? And why are that? What is it for me to do? Going forward.
Exactly. Yeah. Because if we don't know where we come from, we definitely don't know where we're going. Yeah,
that's true.
We definitely don't know where we're going. We may have an idea, but it will be a hit and miss.
Okay.
Yeah. When we know where we're coming from, we know for sure where we're going. Now, where was he from? But you can mention his name if you want to. The father of your first child.
The father of my eldest son, Elias Mitchell, is Bryant Mitchell.
Bryant Mitchell.
And
okay,
then,
so he was also a born American.
Yes, he was.
But he had gotten a chance to visit the continent.
Yes, he did.
Do you remember what country he visited?
For sure, he visited South Africa.
South Africa. Wow.
But I can't remember the other parts that he did visit.
But he did set foot in the continent.
Yes,
he fell in love with the continent.
Yes, he did.
Is he currently in the continent, or he's still back here in the States?
He's actually in California.
He's in California now.
Yes.
Yeah. Because and I say that because a lot of individuals actually, once they set foot in the continent, after that they can stay away from the continent.
Oh my goodness.
Right.
He always talked about moving there, and so I even tried to move there in 2017. I packed all my stuff up with my other children's father.
Wow.
We sold everything, and we was like, look, we about to go to the continent. We was going to Ghana. I had some friends that I met at Ghana through social media, and they always checked on me. They always was like, you keep going. We thank you. You know, like they said they created they was going to do a welcoming for us, and we had a place to stay, and we were getting ready to just come, and my children's father got into some trouble, and we were stuck here. So I was like, oh my goodness, we had to use the money to get him out of the trouble. And
it's okay. Sometimes some things happen just when the timing is right.
That's right. And
no, I'm gonna be a bit selfish here, right? Maybe it's not meant to be Ghana, it should be Angola. Because I was born in Angola, although raised in Washington, D.C. I was born in Angola. So maybe Angola should be the country that you guys need to go to.
And you know what? I am actually at this point in my life, because I used to say, like, it's like my journey to get there. And then it's like, and then when I get there, I'm going to discover this, and this, and I'm going to tell the story from there.
Yes.
And because the story that has been told I'll tell it. Okay. I'll tell it.
We have to own the narrative, and that's what we really try to do here. That's the reason why it is important to us to have you tell your story, because when they in the continent are hearing your story, they're hearing it directly from you.
Yeah.
Because mainstream, it's going to tell what makes money for mainstream channels.
Yeah.
They're not concerned about the essence of what is going to create as far as the community is concerned. They're going to go for the ratings. Here, no, we try to capture the actual archive of who Efuru is, what Efuru's beliefs are, her actual self. What is she doing in the community where she resides? Yeah. Now, you definitely come from a very well community-based environment, and I can tell that. And you mentioned something as you were talking about fashion. You were very critical to the fabric that you were using. Okay, why was that so important to you?
Because it tells a story too. Like each color, the material, the texture, the art design on it, like it's authentic. Like with the fabric that we have, that we created, it was woven, you know, with some hands touched, and it tells like who, you know, like this is energy that was placed on here. It's not going through no machine or anything like that. And then so that was the importance, just to tell the story of this cloth, and where most of our cloth come from. It's just, and then, you know, because I also have a line that shows the kind that comes from China, and I have to tell that story too. You know, this is the real authentic, and this is what is being sold, and but we have to understand
having people understand the difference between the two, right?
And so that's part of the story.
and which is very good. But let's take our second break, and we'll be right back. If you just joined us, you're now tuned into Diaspora Central Spotlight with Gil Ingles, and our guest today is Efuru, yes, of royalty, reigns supreme, right here on Diaspora Central Spotlight. Diaspora, stand up. We'll be right back. And we are back. If you just joined us, you're now tuned into the Diaspora Central Spotlight. Yes, our guest today is Efuru of Royalty Reigns. Houston, stand up. Because today you were represented. The beginning of great things always involves a little bit of pressure, right? For someone who in kindergarten is sort of already experienced that pushback, which probably emotionally may even be difficult because you have a twin sister and now you have to be separated from this person with whom you are always together, right? That diamond starts to form, eventually starts to project light, right? Today, people can see that difference in the things that you do, in the things that you touch. Community starts to become very important to you. So at what point do you realize that community is also an important part of your being?
That started at a very young age. Like I remember always having babysitting children, and I love to babysit children. You know, I remember seeing children with snotty noses and diapers need changing, and I would gather them up and take them home. And because where we lived, it was like a community of like a townhome community. And so we had friends that lived way in the front and all the way in the back and around us. And and then even my mom's sisters, you know, they had children. And we were the oldest of the children, so we would babysit them, and then my mom had friends, and so it was more so at that age because I cared about these children, and my natural instinct would gather them in and clean them up and take care of them and like just babysitting the children. And so that just took me, you know, I waited till I think I was 28 to have children. Wow. And that was when, and the first time I found out I was pregnant, I knew my life was gonna change. Like it was like I'm bringing a whole like a baby from me into this world. Like there is no way I could do you know, live like this ever again in life. Like it's a new life that's ahead of me, and I'm bringing a whole new life. So I started to view things differently when I started having children. And when I had children, it was like, oh, you know, what's on TV? It's like, no, I don't want you to listen to that. Like, turn that off. Like, and then going on this journey of looking for brown children on TV, and I couldn't find it on TV, so it was YouTube, and it was like searching and searching, like it got to be something, and finding some. I found Bino Fino and Afro Man, like all of these different cartoons, and I was like, once I found them, I kept them on repeat.
There you go.
I was like, look, this is all he watch, okay?
So to you, really, the power of representation has always been very important. Ensuring that now you also mentioned meditation on your conversation a few times. You meditate quite often?
I do.
Daily?
I do.
Now what is that something that you started as young, or how exactly do you even get to the point where you start applying meditation to your life?
When I was pregnant with my son, like I remember trying it when I was pregnant with him. And it was just way too much for me. Like it was a lot that came up, but it came into my thought, and I tried it. When I had my first son, afterwards, it was like he was like 2. And I would like looking for Bino Fino and looking for all these cartoons that other things started popping up. So it was like meditation again. And then it was, you know, in the scholars that I would listen to, they would, you know, speak about the mind, and it was like meditation. So one day I just decided to just really just get up and go meditate, because I was in my mom's home and I was like, I need to go meditate, because I don't know, it's just something that drove me to go and do it. And when I went to go and do it, I was like, when I came out of meditation, it was like so many visions was coming to me. And I was like, I just went ahead and just did whatever it told me to do. And I came up with the first design. It was I was playing with some gold paint, and I put a Africa on there.
Gotcha.
And then after that, it was like I seen this. It was like a nightgown that I had that I think someone had given me. It was kind of like a dashiki. And it was kind of like, it wasn't African fabric. It was just the you know, the China one. And so
it was the cut, but not the design.
And so, but that was the closest to something Africa that I could, you know, put on this shirt that I can create with. So I cut an Africa out and I put it on another shirt, and then I seen how beautiful it looked on there, because it was like, you know, the color, because my children's father had just bought me some different color shirts, and I was like, I'm gonna put something on them, because I had already been going through this stage where my sons would want like superhero shirts and Superman. I'm like, but it don't look like me, you know, it don't look like you. And I would keep crayons and markers in my purse, because I was like, fine, you know, like, and I would go and color them and then put them on my son's. Now you can wear it, and I would put it on. And so when I had these shirts, I was like, I need to put something on them, and I just started putting the Africas on there. And then when he came to visit, he looked. And I was like, look what I made. And I was like, I made these for the boys. And he was like, let me see that. And he took it, and he was like, let me go show somebody right quick. I said, okay. So he took it, and when he came back with orders. And when he came back with those orders, it was like, oh my goodness, every day he started to come back with orders. And then it got to the point where he was going to the corner stores, like he was stopping everybody and was selling them, and people loved them. Yeah. And then he came back and was like, the children, the adults want some too. Right. And so he seen that the demand of people wanting to connect back in some way
the representation
to our culture. Because we started putting affirmations on the front. I am king. I am queen. I am royalty. And I am a natural hero. Like we started playing with it, and then we just started going to the markets. And we went to the markets, and these designs was like, wow, like people was really wanting them. Right. And then I remember having a event, and David Banner showed up, and everybody was like, it was so many people lined up to get our pieces. Yeah. Yeah. They wanted to wear them to go to his concert, because at that moment, that's what he was talking about. He was teaching about, he was rapping about. Yeah. So they bought all of these designs because they connected them back to Africa some type of way. Indeed. Indeed. And I mean, the power of representation is always something that we must have. Yeah. Because we eventually grow towards, or we've moved towards those things that are like us, right? Naturally, right? It's even part of our defense mechanism with safety, right? Yes. So you now got this Africa, this exoticism about the continent that you're passionate about, and you're passing it on down to your children, and you're passing it on down to your community. So, and eventually this thing is now this business that I would consider still a family business, because that's how it really started, right? Yeah. Yeah. But we all understand that as life sometimes is, and you were dealt another pressure blow in your way to it. You lose your partner in crime or your sister. Yes. Yeah. So you had a vision together of where this business was going to go, and how you guys were going to make this business great. And she actually has documented portions of it also. Yes. Yeah, on her own. And now it's up to you to carry that through. Yes. Yeah. How do you lighten that weight to yourself, first of all, just so that you're able to carry through, right? Because it could be pressure, but you still gotta be able to do it. Yes. Right? Yeah. So take us through that process. So that process for me, like I could hear my sister all the time, like before that's what we were doing. We were bringing things together, like the foundation and the work and the time. And it was like, she would always say, you need to delegate that. Yeah. You need to delegate that. And still to this day, it's like because I'm doing a lot and I do a lot, but I love it, except that I'm forming that foundation to where I hear her voice in my head all the time when I get like, it's that part. It's like, you need to delegate that. I hear that in my voice, and I calm down, and I'm like, I'm going to delegate it, because that is what keeps me going. That's what keeps me sane. And that's what helps me continue on is delegating the things that can cause any imbalance within me. And my mission is to stay balanced the whole way through and enjoy it along the journey, because that's what it's here for. Indeed. Yes. So, of course, that also meditation then becomes very important. Yes. Right. Now, is that something that you also instilling on your children? Yes. Yeah. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. It's a business. Because I teach the elders, I teach the children how to breathe, how to meditate, how to move our bodies, and then create. And then also believe in ourselves. And that's part of that meditation. It builds your confidence. And then the gratitudes. Yeah. So it's all a lifestyle. It's a package. It's how to create the lifestyle that you wish existed. Right. We are the creators of our reality. And that's one of the things that a lot of people don't realize. Right. And it takes the level of pressure that you
have gone through, and sometimes a little bit more, right? For us to understand that, wait a second, I can actually change this here. I don't have to be a consequence of this, right? I have the power to change this. Yeah. In your opinion, what can families, or maybe mothers and fathers, I guess let's just say families, do to ensure that our children are aware of that, right? So in other words, that they don't have to be a consequence of whatever they're going through.
Yes. For the mothers and fathers, they could start with themselves to see how they would change how they are, so that they could create that reality for themselves. And then also now they are stepping into that point of leadership, of showing and the children that come after them what it looks like. Because everybody, the mothers, the fathers, the children, everybody can change their reality. They can, it has to start with a thought, the thought of what if, or how can I, like even asking the question, because it's the way that we create the reality that we wish existed is going into ourselves, which is meditation, to clear the mind of whatever it is that's in there, because we hold a lot of information and a lot of past trauma.
Right.
And in order to release that, we have to go in to clear that space, to have room for what's coming in. And that's the part where we have the slate that's clean, what we can create from.
Right.
And then what does that look like? If you see your family together, I am so thankful and grateful that I see my family together, because we're laughing and we're having a beautiful time.
Right.
And whatever that looks like, really seeing that in your mind and then living it, like even creating the space to bring that to yourself.
Right.
Your home, you know, you come home, everyone come home, and we're gonna love each other, you know, whatever that is that you view, what you wish it could look like,
Right.
create it in your mind and then make it happen.
Indeed. But we need to go into another break and take a look at some more of your content, because we getting close to the end of this conversation. But you know, we still have plenty of time to talk about a lot of other things. We want to get some of your tips on how to go in and create a business. Of course, plenty of mothers out there, they probably dealing with that anxiety of taking that first step, that leap of faith, right? And it's nothing better than to hear from someone that has already done that on how to go about it and get it done. Yeah. So we'll be right back. If you just tuned in, you're now into Diaspora Central Spotlight, and our guest today is EFURU from Royalty Range.
Let it flow, na, na, let it flow. Let it flow, na, na, let it flow. Let it flow, na, na, let it flow. Let it flow, na, na, let it
And we are back. If you just joined us, you're now tuned into the Diaspora Central Spotlight with Gil Ingles, and our guest today, yes, it's EFURU of Royalty Range. Now, you also have a children's line.
I do.
Yeah, and what's the name of that children's line?
Neturu Heroes.
Neturu Heroes. Break that name down for us.
So Neturu is the meta nature of the, well, they would call it hieroglyphics on the walls that are written in ancient Kemet, which is the original Egypt. And Netru is it's the natural state of who we are.
Yeah.
And they represent deities of gods of this earth, which who we are. You know, we're God's children. We got to be gods of this earth. You know, that's how we here to be. So it's the children who represent the natural state of who they are, and they're the natural heroes of today. So these children they operate only in their natural gifts and talents. They're not afraid of them. They show them, they display them, they show them in many ways through creations and business owning and also creating and inventing. So these are the natural heroes of today, because when on the cartoons, when you look at the heroes on the cartoons that are displayed on the TV, you know, they're displaying talents, gifts and talents, but there is none that look like us. And so in the natural way of who we are is the children that are my children. And then the children that come with us that are here today, they're all their own natural hero. And they are the Netru heroes of today.
Indeed. Indeed. Now, you actually did do things also, and you have done a few things for the 40 Acres conference, right? And we actually met through One Sound Vibes.
Yes.
Right? And the 40 Acres conference was the last time where we actually came across each other, and you were doing something for the children.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, is that something that you do on a yearly basis?
The children's fashion shows?
Yeah.
The children fashion shows are part of the 40 Acres show that we do annually every year.
Okay.
And I do the fashion show with the adult line because I was actually a children's designer until my sister transitioned. So now I'm an adult designer as well.
Right.
In 2022, my sister challenged me 22 days. In February, on the 2nd of February, she challenged me 22 days to come up with an adult line because we were going to do our first fashion show together. And so I was like, why would she do that? She know I love the children. How can she tell me that I can't do a children's line? Like, and I didn't understand it. I just didn't. It was just like, no children. You know, I even tried to sneak the children in there, and she was like, no children.
Just adults.
Just adults.
Yeah.
And so and I did it. We did our first show together, and I did a really good job. And I did sneak a child in there. She was one that was she was the one that came out with the flowers.
There you go.
But she was kind of like a teenager, but I still fulfilled that part of myself. But I did fulfill the adult line. I was very proud of myself. But I do children's fashion shows, and I collaborate with them with the adults.
With the 40 Acres, you mean?
With the 40 Acres,
right.
But also with other fashion shows that are community based, like Black History Month and Juneteenth and MLK. So I do bring the children out, and I do workshops with the children. So my sister and I did workshops where we taught children how to use fabrics and to create with them. So we would do like greeting cards, business cards, and that's the workshops that I do with the children along with the fashion show. So the children that are a part of the workshops, they are always welcome to be a part of the fashion shows.
So that's really to include even non-traditional uses of fabric.
Yes.
Okay, so basically you're using a fabric really just as a resource to create. And you can create anything out of fabric. That's very cool and very important. I think you definitely have a good line there. Definitely have a good line. Now, for individuals who are probably trying to be models or trying to enter the fashion industry, what type of advice would you have for them?
I would tell them, if that's what you want to do it. And I also help teach and assist you that, and here to spark that in you, and to let you know that it can be done, and it's multiple ways to get there. I didn't go to school for fashion design. I just went in a sewing machine and said I wanted to make this, and boom, I made this. My sister went to school for fashion design, but she also seen our mother do it, and but she went to school for fashion design, and she came back with the lingo and the words that they use, and, you know, and I'm just like, oh, I'm just sewing.
Yeah.
So it's multiple ways that you can get into this industry. You just follow your heart, whatever it is that your spirit guides you to do. If it's putting on the buttons, if it's designing, or just doing pattern making, or if you just want to just get into the industry, it's multiple ways that you can get in there. I also have a tab on my website, royaltyrainsinc.com, where you can collaborate with us, and it says you work with us, and you'll just fill out a membership, and then you'll just submit your information. And we always have classes and workshops that we're doing here in Houston. And then I also host fashion shows and that are a part of fashion shows, and we help each other. So coming in as a intern and learning behind the scenes to see how that runs. I'm always open to let people see what I do, so that they can learn to create something for themselves.
Indeed. Now, there's something that I will say it on the air, and I manifest. So, and hopefully you give, I don't know whether you have had an opportunity to visit the said Pan-African library here in Houston, Texas. There's actually a Pan-African library right on Westheimer. I don't remember the address right off the top of my head, but the website is saidinstitute.org.
Okay.
Okay, said, and said is SAID institute.org.
Okay.
Right.
It's off of Westheimer?
It's on Westheimer. It's on Westheimer towards the past Beltway 8, but before Beltway 6. Or 1960. It's on Westheimer.
I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, I think you should probably pick something that I really suggest, and I'll be more than glad to be one of the sponsors to that program that you could have it set for children, at least for the summer, and we can probably work together to put something for the community, really just to showcase that, because I believe that it is necessary, and that's the commitment that Diaspora Central can make to Royalty Reigns in regards to that, and because we appreciate how you are going about finding and or connecting the heritage to who we are.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Indeed.
And yes, and that's exactly what we're doing now, is going into the summer programs and assisting them, and then also locations around Houston, because we have children over here and children over here. So it's definitely take you up on that.
Thank you very much. Now, models, you do have a website, and you did mention it was Royalty
Reigns. It was royaltyrainsinc.com.
Right. So royaltyrainsinc.com.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Now, aside from that, you also have an Instagram page.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have EFURU KORII. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Now, one of the great things that I did like about you was the fact that you guys started creating very early, and you were going out on your own fashion, and you did the same thing with your children, right? Your mom did with you guys. You're doing it with your children. Now, on your little boys, your sons, are they also picking up a few things from you?
They are.
Yeah.
They started a business, and their Natural Heroes is their business. But at this point in their life, they're dabbling in different things. They just know that they got to be business owners.
Got you.
So I see many parts of my sons and my nephew within me.
Within you. Now, if there is someone out there who's probably at that space right now where they feel that they need to also get that identity, right, done, how would they go about it? Can you facilitate in that at all?
Of course. They could go to royaltyrainsinc.com and go to the bottom of the screen, the last tab at the bottom, and you're going to click that, and it's going to take you to a page where you put your name, your phone number, and your information that you would like to share with me, or what you need, and then someone will set you up an appointment to create that reality for yourselves.
There you go. So helping other people go through their journey, of course, you have had one taking adversity and difficult times, taking that pressure and turn it into a diamond.
Yeah.
We appreciate you coming through and sharing your journey with us. It's been great.
Thank you.
Hopefully you got to make me one promise that you will be back, because there are many other things that we need to touch on.
I promise.
Thank you very much. And for those of you that took time out of your own schedule, remember that Diaspora Central showcases nothing else but diaspora culture and talent. In other words, without you, there wouldn't be us. We appreciate you sharing your culture with us, and us sharing our culture with you, and us owning the narrative of what is now become our diaspora culture.
Hey.
Because without that, we have nothing.
Ashe.
Right? Yeah.
Ashe.
We have nothing. Yeah.
Thank you.
So remember, peace and love. Take that pressure, allow it to form that diamond, because eventually not only will capture the light, we'll also reflect that light to enlighten others. Until next time, peace.